Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 4 of I Should Say That Out Loud. I'm your host, Donna Brendel. I'm so excited for this new year. I have so many thoughts and ideas, and have actually written out a plan for the whole year, which I have not done before. But here's my big announcement. I'm so excited to announce that for 2025, I'm going to focus on one word. As I thought through what word could possibly encompass all that I want to do and get across with I Should Say That Out Loud, with this podcast, with my YouTube channel, and with my books, is that I want to project. I want to project my thoughts to the world. I've been projecting my words to the world. I want to take it up a level, maybe even a couple notches. And I want to get better at speaking my thoughts out loud, but also at articulating my thoughts and also being heard. I know I'm not alone in this. There are a lot of autistic people and also non-autistic people in the world who struggle to get their voice heard and articulate what it is we're trying to say. So I think this entire year, will be a journey, and a hopeful and helpful journey for myself personally, but also for you and all of my listeners and viewers to learn how to help people with autism, but also how to learn to communicate better. That's a big goal that I have for this year. But here is my plan. I have a plan for the first time, I think, since I started this podcasting journey. So for this episode, I want to give an overview of what the year is going to look like. First, I want to give you the definition of the word project. I love words. I love taking apart words, even one word at a time, because there's so much in every word in our English language that a lot of other languages have many words for the one word that we use in our language. So the word project has so many different definitions that I'm going to take each definition and focus on the different meanings of the word project every month and take it apart and investigate the meaning of this word even better. Before I get too far, I should tell you who I am. I am a late diagnosed adult on the autism spectrum, and I grew up having a lot of thoughts on my mind that I didn't know how to say out loud. And sometimes I didn't know how to say the words. Sometimes I didn't have the words. Sometimes I didn't feel safe to say the words. There's a whole bunch of reasons, but in general, I kept a lot of my thoughts to myself in my head. I thought the thoughts to myself all the time. I had a lot of dialogue going on in my head, but I didn't say them out loud very often. I was verbal, but I kept a lot of thoughts and comments to myself instead of participating in conversation and participating in socializing, which makes it hard to make friends and be with your family and grow those close connections that are really important in life, in all different stages of your life. So when I learned of my autism diagnosis, I was very relieved to understand that there was a reason why I had all these thoughts in my mind and I didn't say them out loud. And I before my diagnosis, I did have an experience where I shared something that was on my mind out loud to a friend. And I just wanted to thank her for being my friend and taking time out of her day on a regular basis so we could get together and have a mentoring relationship and I could learn from her and grow our friendship. And it was the first time I had ever done something like that. And it felt so good to be growing a connection with someone. And I was thinking in my head, I'm enjoying this process so much. And I'm so thankful to her. And then it just dawned on me, I should probably say that out loud. She probably would like to hear that. And so I did. I said that out loud and she, smiled and her face lit up and she said, "Oh, thank you. And I'm enjoying this as well." And it was such a positive experience to have said something out loud that I was thinking that that moment was kind of, imprinted on my brain that I should do that more often. And then when I created my podcast, I didn't have to think long to realize that that would be the title of my podcast. I should say that out loud because it happens to me all the time. Even still, after all these years of podcasting, I still have that thought. I should say that out loud. And I more often now than I used to, I will say things out loud with people in my life, and it turns out well. So it's helped me to be on this journey. But like I said, I'm going to take it to another level this year in 2025, season 4 of I Should Say That Out Loud. So let's dig in. The theme for this year is project. Project has a lot of different meanings. I'm going to go through the actual definitions first and then kind of talk a little bit more about the general idea of the year. There are 11 different definitions, which is perfect because January, this month, will be just the overview of the year. And then every month going forward, I'll break down each of these definitions. So the first one is to estimate or forecast on the basis of trends or data, which there's a lot of data and trends in autism and in the world. And so I'm going to kind of break down some of those trends and do some research and share what I find with you and project kind of the state of autism in our world, in America, in Wisconsin, in my local area, and whatever information I can find to project autism in communicating and who knows what else I'll find to project on the trends and data of autism. Next, it means to forecast or plan an undertaking. So it's a little similar to forecasting on trends or data, but now it's kind of creating a plan and moving it forward. Kind of like what I've done with my podcast in the past, but now I want to move it forward even more and project more clearly, more on purpose, more in a more planned out way to be more effective and clear in communication. Next, it means to extend outward beyond something else or protrude. So this could be like in construction, like a protruding wall. I looked up the word project in the Bible, and it shows up a lot in the building of the temple and how God told his people how he wanted the temple to be built. And the prophets were explaining how it was built, and they described the protruding walls. That's in a lot of verses in the Old Testament. So that can be a construction term, project. I'm not sure what else it's going to mean or what else I'm going to discover out of that word, but maybe I'll learn more about some biblical ideas there or about construction ideas. Who knows? I don't know. I can also think off the bat something that extends outward beyond something else. Like I can extend myself outward from myself to you through technology and social media and podcasting and YouTubing. Technology has enabled us to project ourselves from outside of ourselves to many other places and realms and times. And that's kind of neat. That's pretty neat. Next, project means to throw or cause to move forward. So like to project a ball or to project an object or any thing and move it forward. So like I said, I want to move my communication forward, and I want to like throw my voice. I want to throw my ideas out there. I want to throw my books forward. I want to get my thoughts out of my brain and say them out loud, but also not just say them, but have them do something and be productive for myself, for you, for whoever it can be helpful and productive for. Next, project means to cause to fall on a surface. I'm not sure what I'm going to say about that. I think it's similar to the previous definition, to throw or cause something to move forward. But then after you throw something and it moves forward, because of gravity, it's going to fall and it'll fall on a surface. So it's like the landing of what you project, maybe the result of projection. And even I'm thinking of projecting an image on a screen before computers, when we had projectors that would put images onto the screen that teachers would use. and projection for movies in film, and how a projection machine would put the movie onto a wall. So that is causing an image to fall on a surface, which can have a lot of meaning, deeper meaning and implication that I will be exploring. Next, project means to cause to be heard at a distance. That is one sentence, one definition, but there's two parts in that I'm going to break down in that month. So cause to be heard at all, but then cause to be heard at a distance. There's two ideas there in that one. I'm really excited about that one. Next, project means to imagine yourself or a situation as having moved to a different place or time. Now that one is going to be fun. I might have to dress up for that in like a different time frame. We'll see. I'm excited about that one. That's going to be fun. Next, project means to present or promote a particular view or image. So that's what I've been doing with this podcast all along, is projecting, presenting, promoting my thoughts on autism, how I've experienced it from my point of view, and promoting the idea that autism is difficult, but there are ways to help people cope with it and flourish with it. And every autistic person is different. So there's different levels of struggle, different levels of joy. But the more we talk about it and the more we understand it and work together at it, the better we can enjoy life and thrive together. Next, project means to present something or someone in a way intended to create a favorable impression. I like that. As I just said, talking about autism sometimes is really hard and really difficult and sad, because there are a lot of struggles that go along with being autistic. But to present and project autism forward into the world in a favorable manner is what I desire to do. And that's what I've been doing. That's been my goal from the beginning, but I will explore that even more and more in depth as well. Next, project means to display. To display an emotion or quality in one's behavior. I find this one very fascinating, especially as it relates to autism, because projecting is not just about speaking or projecting sound or a voice, although that is in one of the previous definitions, but it's also about projecting our emotions and projecting our behaviors. And for people who are autistic, sometimes that's all they have. Sometimes that's all we have. Sometimes, even though I'm verbal, I get completely blocked in a moment and I can't find the words, or I can't say any words because I'm just blocked emotionally or for whatever reason. And so I might display an emotion or a behavior instead and project that forward. So that is something that I am excited to explore, so that if you're autistic, you can understand that better in yourself. Or if you know someone or love someone who is autistic, you can watch for that and recognize that better in that person. Next, project means to transfer or attribute one's own emotion or desire to another person, especially unconsciously. Now, this one is even more fascinating than the last one. The last one is about displaying, projecting emotion more on purpose. This one is about unconsciously projecting your emotions and behaviors onto other people, which again, we do all the time. Everybody does that. But to look at that from an autistic perspective, especially when that may be the only form of communication that someone has, maybe 100% of the time, maybe only some of the time. But it's a very important part of communication and awareness of people that you know, to help them communicate to you, and for people who are autistic, themselves for us to communicate to others. And to know that we can sometimes do this on purpose and that we sometimes do this unconsciously, and to kind of pay attention to ourselves and notice when we're doing it on purpose, and then notice when we're doing it unconsciously, which obviously we're doing it unconsciously, so we're not going to notice it, but you can notice that like after the fact, like pretty quickly. So it could be like, my plan is to have at least 2 episodes a month this year. That will double my episodes from the previous 2 years, from 12 or 13 episodes to 24 episodes. And I also, if I can do that, I will be just so happy. But I would also love to possibly do a 3rd episode in certain months here and there when I can make that happen. So 1 episode per month will be me talking on the definition of project and my other various thoughts that I might have. The other episode each month will be either a guest that I will invite to be on the show and I will interview them, or the other episode could be me reviewing a book. I have enjoyed reviewing books in the past on my podcast, and I kind of got away from that. Not on purpose, but I just want to get back to that because I really enjoy reading and reviewing books and gleaning, pulling, learning and pulling information out of books and sharing it, educating myself that way, educating my audience that way. But also this year, I'm going to be making more connections between the books that I'm reading. So I'll be reviewing books, but also connecting books to each other, either in the same episode or between the months. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to look yet, but that's another part of my plan for this year. Just to kind of look back at last year, on my year, my whole year personally, and then my goals for this year. I thought I'd share with you that in 2024, I returned to college to finish my first degree, my associate's degree. It's been a long time coming, but I am almost done now. I'll be graduating with that degree in May. So I took classes all year in 2024. I did not take a break in the summer or the winter or the spring or the fall. I had classes every single semester so I could get that thing finished. And I'm finishing in May. Also last year, I finished writing the rough draft of my second book, which is Autistic Revelations Career Edition. So the timing of that is I think very fitting for finishing this first degree and improving my career path. And as I get ready to graduate this year, I'm editing my second book and hopefully will be announcing the pre-sale date that you can go on and order my second book. So I will keep you updated on that. I'm really excited about this project. Last year, I also moved, and all 3 of my children moved to separate locations. So it was a very busy and movement-filled year. A lot of movement, literally and physically. And then a lot of movement educationally and in my career path. So I'm so excited about the journey that I've been on with you and the journey that we will be on this year going forward, projecting into 2025. Thank you for joining me. I have so much more to say. I wrote a bunch more notes, but I've given you the lowdown. I've given you the lowdown, and I think that is, well, maybe not. Maybe I'll share a little bit more. What time is it? I have time. Okay. That's the general layout of this year. Oh, a few other projects that I have planned for 2025. As I said, I'm finishing the edits of my second book. I am looking for someone to write the foreword to my second book. So if you're a career coach or autistic coach, or I don't know, if you're just interested to possibly write the foreword for my book, please message me. I'm also looking for people to write endorsements for my second book. So if you'd like to get a chapter or maybe the whole thing even emailed to you, let me know. and you can read it and then send me your thoughts and maybe a quote that I could put on the jacket of the book. I would love that. So editing, finishing my second book, graduating with my first degree in May, and then going on for my bachelor's degree in the fall, which will be in educational psychology. It's a really interesting degree for me. I chose it because I've been working with kids in school this past year and a half, and I've been going to school myself. And what I've learned is that I can feel the struggles of students. People with autism have stronger sensory receptors. We can sense other people's, some of us on the autism spectrum can sense other people's pain better than others, whether it's physical pain or emotional pain. So, for example, if I see somebody get cut and they're bleeding and they feel pain, I can wince with pain and feel like I can feel a jolt of physical pain. If I like slap someone in the back who just got a sunburn and they react like, ow, I'm like, oh, and I feel like a jolt of pain. Like I can viscerally feel their pain. But what I also realized this year working with the kids is that I can also feel emotional pain, and I can feel, I don't know what the word is for it, something like scholarly pain, thinking pain, cognitive processing pain, if that makes sense. So when somebody, especially if, what I've realized is that I can sense when somebody is struggling with a learning process, a cognitive process. I can see it on their face. I can see it in their tension in their body. I can see it in the sounds they make, the sighs, the way they move and gesture. I can see it. I can just see it, and then I can also feel it at the same time, like instantly. And I can feel it in my brain because I've grown up with that pain, the cognitive processing pain. I should probably do a whole episode on it. I'm projecting this new concept of cognitive processing pain, but it's for people who have learning disabilities like dyslexia, dysgraphia, the math one. There's a bunch of them. I can't think of all of them, but I've known since I was a little girl that I'm dyslexic. Like that part of me was known, and that learning disability has been known for a long time. But it was known when I was a little girl, or it was thought to only be that you flip letters backwards or you flip words backwards, which is part of it, but that's a very small part of dyslexia. And there's such a bigger, there's so much more to dyslexia than flipping letters and flipping words. And I've learned that more recently. And it's the way we think, it's the way we process, it's the way. So one of my biggest struggles, just to give you an example to help explain what I'm trying to explain, technology for me is very difficult. Oh, is this really going to make me emotional? I can use a computer. I can do a lot of things on a computer, but every time I sit down to the computer, oh, oh my gosh. I had no idea that this would make me emotional. I'm projecting emotions right now about cognitive processing, and especially when it's a trigger, it's a behavior that I know regularly affects me. Technology. It's not all of technology. It's parts of it. It's passwords are a big part of it. Remembering passwords, remembering how to log in, remembering how to open whatever it is I'm trying to get to, whether it's a website, an app, a SharePoint thing. I still don't understand that. People I work with can do all the technology things, and they can access the things we have to access to do our reports. They can do it on the work laptop. They can do it on their personal laptop. They can do it on their phone. I only know how to do it on one place, and that's the place that I do it over and over again. And if anything changes, then then it's really frustrating to figure out how to do it the new way or a new way. And sometimes, even if it doesn't change, I just space out and forget, especially if it's something that I haven't done for a while. So like I've done it once and some months have gone by and now I have to do it again. If I haven't written it down, or if I wrote it down, I don't remember where that note is, I have to like research and figure it out all over again. I literally need like a roadmap to remember how to do that. And so people who don't have dyslexia and who don't understand dyslexia, when they see a student struggling to log into something, even if it's something that they log into regularly, and the student says, I forgot my password, or I forgot how to get to it. And sorry, I'm talking like a student now. And then the teacher or the aide says, you've done this before, or you've done this a bunch of times, or you know how to do this, or you should know how to do this. And it kills me. I feel that. I know exactly what that student is feeling. They feel, why am I so dumb? How can I be so stupid? Why is everyone else doing this so easily? Why is the teacher being so mean? Why don't they understand that I don't know why I can't do this every day. I don't know why it's hard every day, but it's hard every day. And the teacher thinks that I'm dumb every day, or I'm lazy every day, or that I'm like making myself look like an idiot on purpose every day. It's a brain thing. And if I could just help people understand that and accept that and not berate the children, the students who are struggling with that, that would be a win for the whole year. Really. I didn't mean to go on a rant, but I guess I did. I am projecting my emotions about dyslexia and technology and passwords. Okay. Now I gotta calm down from that. I gotta breathe and regulate my body because I'm all tense now just from thinking about that and putting myself. See, as I'm talking about that, I'm in the classroom. I'm seeing those students that I've worked with. I'm seeing their reaction. I'm feeling their reaction, their bodily reaction, as I did in the class on those days, as I'm sitting here right now, because I'm visual. I can think about it. I can see it. I can project myself to a different time and place and physically and viscerally feel those exact same feelings I felt at that time, the very first time. I can do that right now, like I just did. So I'm going to stop talking about that topic and I'm going to move back to my notes. I can edit this part out, but I should probably leave it in so you can see what that stress does to someone. I'm leaving it at that. Okay. Okay, what's next on my notes? Where was I? See, now I'm flustered, and that's what happens to the students. They get emotional and viscerally all worked up, and flustered and like, I don't know what we're doing, where we are, what you just said in the class. I don't know. Yeah, no, I haven't even heard a word you said for the last 3 minutes. Literally. No, I'm not dumb. No, I'm flustered. I'm worked up. Need a break. The teachers, they know that the kids get dysregulated and that they need breaks, but they don't know what triggers that sometimes, and that they're not being dumb or lazy. It's a visceral thing. It's the cognitive processing. And I'm talking about it again and I just can't stop. Oh my gosh, you're gonna like turn this off and say, forget it, I don't want to hear this anymore. You just said that 10 times. But I'm projecting. I'm like, see, I'm getting bigger, I'm getting louder. My voice is carrying and my emotions are carrying through. Maybe they're landing on a surface. Maybe your screen or maybe your heart. Maybe you can feel it for the students or for me or for yourself. This is projecting. This is what I want to talk about this year. This is what I want to do this year. So this is great. And I hope you're still listening and watching. And I hope you'll subscribe to my channel and like the episode and comment on it. Comment if you relate, if you get this, if you felt a visceral response as well. If you are a teacher, if you are a student, if you've experienced this for yourself or with your class, your students. Whew. I really need to move on. I don't know if I can even get back to my notes. Seriously. I'm hot now too. Like I need to take this jacket off. All right, if I'm going to keep going, I have to take my jacket off. So oh my gosh. I'm dropping stuff. Oh, I wanted to. Oh, it's somewhere in my notes, but I see it now behind me. My bullhorn? My megaphone. I wanted to talk to you about my megaphone. I took photos with this recently for the graphics for this season because obviously you can project your voice with one of these, right? So this is like one of the first things I thought of when I thought of the word project. So you can project your voice with this. I think it's not even on. It has battery. There's no batteries in it and it's not on, but even just talking through this thing, it sounds a little louder. Does it sound louder? But what I wanted to talk about, that this is not the only tool that can help us project, because it's not just our voice that we're projecting. That's part of it. But as I talked about in all the different definitions of project, there's much more than just our voice that we need to say out loud or project forward. And so this is clearly an important tool. You know, if you're a speaker at a podium in a room full of people, you need a microphone or old-fashioned megaphone to project your voice. If you're too soft or just whispering and nobody can hear you, nobody's going to stay to listen. But there are other ways to project your thoughts, your voice, your feelings, your emotions, who you are. We want to project who we are too. And we don't want to be what other people want us to be and allow them to project who we are onto us, if that makes sense. There are a lot of hurting autistic people who need help learning how to project not only what their needs are, but who they are as a person. And that's, I think, the biggest idea of what I want to get across this year is saying our words out loud, whether it's with our voice or with a device or with sign language or images, but also projecting who we are as a person, that we are people individuals uniquely awesome and worthy of getting to know and interacting with and being a friend and, you know, a family member and a coworker and on a team. Lots of different ways to think about it. So this is on the cover of my imagery for this year, but this is just one part of projecting. I know this, and I'm going to talk about all the different ways and maybe bring in some other visuals as well as we go through the year. I almost forgot. I wanted to tell a very poignant story. Which might be hard too, for me to not get emotional. It's about the importance of being able to project not just who we are, but in order to have permission and have confidence and courage to say what's important at any moment, especially when there's an emergency. This example is when there's an emergency, but it's important for people to be able to project who they are all the time, not just in an emergency. So here's my example. This is going to take a lot of editing. I am all over the place. Holy cow. I'm making a lot of work for myself. Okay. So I was 10 years old. Oh, emotion already. It's okay. I got to project. Let it move forward from me and out to you. I was 10 years old, sleeping in the top bunk, and I could smell the smoke of a fire. I knew that our house was on fire. I had been in a fire when I was 3 years old, so I knew instantly what that smell was. And I knew before I even opened my eyes. I mean, it was dark and smoky. Once I opened my eyes, I couldn't see anyway, but I didn't. All I needed was the whiff in my nose to know, oh my gosh, the house is on fire again. It was a different house, but so I got out of bed, climbed out from the bunk bed. My two sisters were in the bunk bed below me. And I crawled. I knew to crawled into the hall. And I didn't know why yet, because this is way before my diagnosis. But I whispered, oh. I told this story in season 1. But that was audio. It was not video. Woo! As I crawled down the hall, I whispered, Mom, Mom, Mom. I only whispered. I couldn't find her. I didn't know if she was home or not. But I knew I had to get out of the house, and I couldn't spend forever looking for her because it's not safe. So I went back to my room. First I went to the kitchen and tried to use the phone, but it was melted. The phone that hung on the wall, the plastic phone that was melted. I tried to look out the kitchen window to see if her car was there. It was too foggy, I couldn't see, so I still didn't know if she was home or not. I went to the door between the kitchen and the rec room, and that's where the fire was, in the rec room. And I could see the huge red flames. The whole room was up in flames. And it was very hot. I could feel the heat radiating onto me. And I almost got frozen in that spot and mesmerized by it, the sight of it and the heat. But I knew, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta move. This is too hot. So then I crawled back through the kitchen and back into the hall and back into my room By then, my sisters were awake, and my brother, who had been spending the night, had gone outside to our window and was trying to help us open the window and get us out. Long story short, it's a very tragic story. My mom and her boyfriend were both home from the party they had been at, and they both died in that fire. And I always kicked myself for whispering. Why didn't I yell? It was a fire. The house was on fire. Why wasn't I screaming at the top of my lungs? It's not that I couldn't yell. I would yell at my sister all the time. I would yell, "Mom, my sister's doing this or that," through the house. And she could hear me and she'd yell back, "Stop it." It's not that I couldn't yell, but I was afraid and in a panic, and I didn't know what to do, and I don't know why, but I whispered. And I carried a lot of guilt for that for a lot of years. I know it's not my fault that she died. But I wish I could have projected my voice that night. So this word, this topic, this word for the year, project, in 2025 is very important to me. And I hope it helps you. I'm excited about all that I'm going to learn about all the different definitions of the word project and all the ways that I will grow and level up my communication and projecting my thoughts, my voice, my words, but also who I am to you. And I hope that you learn along with me how to project who you are and and that we can all communicate better and have better, stronger relationships and thrive in all that we do. That's all I can do for today. I'm completely done now. Completely tapped out and emotional, and I'm gonna go crochet some snowflakes for my daughter's bridal shower. Thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate you so very much. Please, again, subscribe to my channel, like this episode if you liked it, and share it with your friends with the share button. That's a very important button, but also with your voice. Project that you listened to this and that you liked it if you did, and tell people about it, without the devices, word of mouth. Talk to people about it. Good old-fashioned projecting without technology. And I also want to extend an invitation for you to be a guest on my show. If you are interested in being on my show and talking to me and being interviewed about projecting, about autism, about your journey, about a great book you've read, message me. Send me a message, please, and let's talk. It's a little bit late, but Happy New Year. And I'm excited to go through 2025 with you. Do I have a sign off for this year? Project you later? No, that's dumb. Projectorama. How about just goodbye? Bye-bye. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.